Sunday. Let me know if y'all can hear me. If you can't hear me, please let me know. I was having a little issues with my mic. And I was literally like, Lord, please let me be able to do this live. Please let me be able to do this live because for whatever reason, this mic is not turning on. But it seems like it's working. But let me know if y'all can't hear me. Let me know if it's not. As always, I'm gonna wait for some people to come into the live. And yeah, today's topic, I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about every topic that I do, but this one in particular really hits a soft spot. And it's because I've been on all sides, even though I don't have kids. For those wondering, I don't have kids yet. But even so, I've still been on all sides. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I just want to give people a chance to come into the live. I'm calm, cool, and collected. 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 Yeah, today's message is about the fact that kids don't ask to be born. And whether you have kids or you don't, but you're thinking about having kids, this message is for you. But if you do already have kids, just know I'm not trying to offend you. But I gotta be real. Because I feel like this is a conversation a lot of people don't have. And it's like, of course, it's obvious nobody asked to be born. However, we need to get into how deep that is, how deep it is to have a child. Because I feel like these days, a lot of people downplay it. They'll have a kid with somebody before they get married, and they'll say marriage is a bigger commitment than making a whole human with another person that you're pretty much going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. So yeah, I'm very passionate about this subject because I've been on all sides. Hi guys. You are so beautiful. Thank you. Ooh, I just want to make sure my voice doesn't give out because I be forgetting to breathe, which messes with my it messes with my speech. Now that it's a few people in the live, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the message. Kids are not cute accessories. And kids don't stay babies or even kids forever. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't think about. People want to have babies, not kids. They want to have them when they're small and cute and cuddly and they can't talk. But as soon as a kid becomes a toddler, you hear parents complain. The terrible twos. My kids are so bad. And even when they get into teenage years, then they really start acting a fool. Then they really start acting a fool and talking back and wanting to be independent. And a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about the cute, cuddly phase. And they don't think about the fact kids are humans with emotions and needs. If you see me looking down, I'm glancing at my notes. And I'm gonna be real. Most people's desire to have kids is rooted in ego and selfishness. And like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I gotta keep it real. Think about whenever you ask somebody, why do they want to have a kid? A lot of times you'll hear them say, oh, I want to have a mini me, or my legacy, or I want somebody to take care of me when I get old. Or sometimes people have kids just to fill a void, just to feel loved. And when you think about it, All that is selfish and rooted in your ego. Because, like I said at the beginning, kids don't ask to be here. And here's the thing. I'm gonna really keep it real. So if you're a person that gets offended easily, maybe you shouldn't watch this live. But let's be real. A lot of people don't even intentionally have kids. Let's be real. A lot of times people just lay down without protection and don't think about the consequences. And then they end up with a kid. I'm sure a lot of people who will end up watching this live, and I won't assume everybody, but I'm sure a lot of us were conceived out of wedlock. I'm sure a lot of us were brought here, and not even just because here's the thing. There's people who have kids before they get married and then they still end up getting married. And there's people who wait to have kids when they get married and then they end up getting a divorce. I'm well aware of that. But I'm sure a lot of us also were not only brought out of wedlock, but not even brought into this earth with true love. And what I mean by that is two people, a man and a woman, coming together who truly love each other and are intentional. I said intentional, who are intentional about making a human out of love, not just because they was horny and they didn't want to use a condom because it felt better. Like I said, I'm gonna be very raw in this live. I'm not censoring myself because I'm gonna be honest. A lot of times I'll be like kind of like walking on eggshells, feeling like I gotta filter myself. But no, I'm gonna just keep it real. If you can't handle it, just turn the live off. But a lot of times, people just be thinking about the pleasure. When a lot of people out here, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to judge. Lord, please help me to deliver this message in a loving, gentle way. But let's be real. A lot of people think sex is just sex, and it's not. And not only are people just having sex with different people, or on top of that, a lot of people ain't using protection because it feels better. And I'm gonna be real, yes, it does feel better. We can all agree having unprotected sex does feel better, but it's not worth the pleasure. The 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you're lucky, the 30 minutes of pleasure is not worth the potential long term pain and suffering. And not even just to you, but to your child that did not ask to be here. A lot of times people end up with unwanted pregnancies and they just go through with it because for different reasons. Sometimes women find out too late, or sometimes women will be like, "Oh, I don't believe in abortion, so I'ma just have it." And even though I respect that, in my humble opinion, you should really think about the life that your child is going to have. Can you honestly give them the best upbringing? And a lot of times when people talk about having kids, they talk about the money, but they don't talk about their emotional needs. They don't talk about how much it takes. Oh, my mic. How much it takes, not only financially, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually. It takes so much mentally and spiritually to raise a child, to raise a child in the right way and really pour into them. A lot of people who are parents did not do that because they were not ready to have kids. And I'm going to be real. Some people don't need to have kids at all. And that's another thing that people have to realize. Everybody's not meant to have kids. Some people are unfit to be parents. And it's a lot of people who unfortunately had kids even though they weren't fit to be parents. I'm a prime example. I was born to teenage parents. My mom was 15 when I was born, and my dad was 14 going on 15. Can you imagine? Look at 14 and 15-year-olds today. Anytime I see teenagers, even like 16, 17, I cannot imagine these babies walking around with babies. Like, you are not mentally equipped to not only create a human, but to raise it in the right way with love. And yes, even the financial aspect is important too. I didn't have the best childhood. Like I said, my parents had me when they were pretty much kids, 14 and 15. And not only did I grow up less than, I don't want to say we was poor because we had a roof over our head. We had food, like we had the bare necessities, but we were struggling. And my dad, he wasn't even in the picture. And that's another thing. You got to think about who you having a child with, who you're laying down with. If you wouldn't want to have a child by that person, if you're not confident they would be a good parent, why are you laying down with them without protection? And like I said, I'm not here to judge because I've made that mistake too. Like I said, I've been pregnant before and I had an abortion. And this was over a decade ago. And even I don't know if I mentioned that actually, but if I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. I've been pregnant before. And this was over a decade ago. But yeah, that's something that I'm not proud of. But even though I'm not proud of it, I don't regret it. Yes, I regret putting myself in that position, but I don't regret having an abortion because looking back now, I want to say I was 22. I'm 32 now. I was 21 or 22. Looking back, looking back on who I was then, even my financial situation, my mindset, if I would have had a child back then, if I would have went through with that pregnancy, I wouldn't have been a good mother. I know for a fact I wouldn't have been a good mother because I was mentally unstable. I had a bunch of unresolved trauma that I wasn't even aware of. My mind was, I'm gonna be real, I was fucked up. Mentally, I was fucked up and I didn't even realize it. Because I was still holding down a job and taking care of myself. But I could barely take care of myself. If I'm being real, I could barely take care of myself. So looking back, I'm glad I didn't go through with that pregnancy, especially because who the father was. He was unstable too. So I say all that to say, I'm not saying all these things from a place of judgment. I'm speaking from experience. And even when I think about my parents, my mom, I'm gonna be real. When I was a kid, I felt like my mom hated us. Like, and she ain't do nothing super crazy. Like, I mean, it's debatable. It's debatable. I don't want to shit my mom, but I just gotta be honest. But I mean, I know other people have had it even worse. Some people's parents are, on crack. So it wasn't to that extent. But looking back, it was pretty bad. Like, I'm gonna be real. When I was a kid, I used to be very suicidal. I used to wish I wasn't born. And a lot of times I felt like our mom, me and my brothers, because that's another thing. I'm the oldest of three. So guess what? Because my mom was a young single mother, with me being the oldest, I pretty much was the second parent. So even though I don't have kids yet, I know firsthand how having a child is not a walk in the park. Having a child is not a walk in the park. But anyways, I was pretty much the second parent. And I used to feel like our mom hated us. And now I know that she didn't. My mom loves me to death. But when I was a child, I didn't feel like she did. I felt like we were a burden to her. And in my little child brain, I would always be thinking to myself, why did my mom have us if she hates us? Why did she have us if she didn't want us? Why does she have us if we're just a burden to her? Like, she's always mad. It seems like she gets mad over the smallest things. These were all the things I was thinking as a child. And that's why I used to wish I wasn't born. When I was a kid, I would just always say to myself, I wish I wasn't born. I wish I wasn't born. My dad ain't even in my life. He's a deadbeat. And my mom is in my life. But it seems like she don't really want to be. Like anytime she's at home, her mind is somewhere else. But a lot of time she wouldn't even be home. So, like I said, I know firsthand. I've been on all sides. I've made my mistakes and almost ended up repeating the same patterns as my parents and even my grandparents, even my great grandparents. That's another thing. You need to heal. It's so important to heal. It's so important to heal before you have kids. Because if you don't heal, 9 times out of 10, your kids are going to end up having to heal from you. Heal yourself so your kids don't have to heal from you. And that's another reason why I'm happy I didn't go through with that pregnancy. Because I'm sure I would have passed some type of trauma on to my kids. Ooh, I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice. That's why I gotta drink this water. I'll be so anxious, but I'll also be so excited. That's why I'll be yelling. I'll be like, yeah, man, blah, 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 blah. I know y'all probably be watching, like, slow down, take a breath, calm down. I'm just such a passionate person. But anywho, back to what I was saying. Oh, and that's another thing. That brings me to my next point. People really underestimate how much parents have an impact on their kids' well-being, and their self-esteem. Kids are literally sponges. Whatever your energy is, that's going to rub off on the child. Perfect example, what I said about my mom. I used to feel like her being stressed out. And really, my mom loved us to death, but she was just overwhelmed. She was just stressed. Now I know that, but when I was a kid, I had no idea. I didn't understand. I'm like, why does my mom hate us? It's just because she was stressed. She was overwhelmed. She wasn't getting any help from any of our dads. So now I understand, but that's why her energy came off as her not wanting us, her really feeling like we were a burden. And that's what would make me feel like I wish I was never born. And that's why when people be like, oh, kids don't, I saw a TikTok comment the other day that pissed me off. This girl said, kids don't really need much. All they need is clothes, food, water, and shelter. And that's really how a lot of people think. They think, like, anytime parents say stuff like, all I did for you, I took care of you, I made sure you always ate, I made sure you had clothes, I made sure you had a roof over your head. That's what the fuck you're supposed to do. Excuse my language. But that's what the hell you're supposed to do as a parent. That's the bare necessities. That's the bare necessities. And that's why I say, if you don't already have a kid, these are all things you should be thinking about prior to having one. Because if you don't, it's selfish. I'm sorry. When people will be like, oh, and people say shit like, oh, things happen. Like, nobody's ever really ready for a kid, blah, blah, blah. Y'all be using every excuse in the book not to be responsible. Not like, it's so careless. It's so careless to lay down with somebody without a condom. If you want to use protection, do you. That's fine. If you want to be active, use a condom. But anytime you lay down with somebody without a condom, knowing damn well you don't want to have a kid with that person, that's selfish. Because, like I said, kids don't ask to be born. So consider them before you have them. When it comes to me having kids, because I know you guys are probably wondering, like, does she want to have kids? Honestly, I'm half and half. If I have a kid, cool. If I don't have a kid, that's cool too. I'm not pressed. Because like I said, I've already pretty much been a mom. I'm the oldest. I've already been a mom. But at the same time, I do love kids. Because not to be corny, but kids really are the future. Literally, kids are the future. Gen Z, and I forgot the name of the other generation that was recently born, but Gen Z and the generation below them, they literally are the future. They're, as we get older, they're going to become the predominant adults, I guess you could say. And I love kids because they're so pure. They're so pure and innocent. And they're goofy and they have a big imaginations. That's why I said I'm half and half. A part of me feels like I'm meant to be a mom, but then another part of me is like, nah, I can live without it. I didn't already had to be a parent all throughout my childhood, so I'm like, nah. That's why I know whoever my husband is, he has to be the same way as me. He has to be like, babe, whether we have a kid or not, I don't care. Any man is like, no, I for sure don't want to have kids. Or, no, I have to have a kid. Any man that's one or the other, that ain't my husband. Because, like I said, I'm undecided. I'm just let God decide. I'm just let God decide. Luckily, I don't got to worry about that now because I'm abstinent. I've been abstinent for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in October. And if I'm being real, I'm proud of myself, but I'm not necessarily happy about it. And yeah, I'm not happy about it because I have needs, you know? A girl has needs. But at the same time, I'm not opening these legs until I'm a fiance. I ain't opening these legs again until I'm a fiance. But yeah, it's been almost 3 years of me being abstinent. So yeah, hopefully this message blessed you in some way. Oh, my voice. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody. And yeah, if this message spoke to you in any way, please make sure you like it and make sure you're subscribed. Oh shit. Sorry. See y'all soon. Bye. Deuces.